Hey guys, it's Gawain, and today we are going to be taking a look at one of the strongest legends in Apex, Gibraltar. Gibraltar is a defensive legend that specialises in protecting his team by providing cover, area denial, and supporting his teammates. Gibraltar can be one of, if not the best legend in the game in the right hands, so let's learn how to play him. Gibraltar is equipped with his tactical ability, Dome, of which he gets one on a 30-second cooldown. When you press the tactical ability button, Gibby will throw a large disc that projects an impenetrable dome around it when it reaches the floor. This is a 12 meter in diameter 3D oval that lasts for 12 seconds. No projectiles such as bullets, grenades, or abilities can pass through this on either side, making it perfect cover if you're out in the open. This being said, the dome is only half a dome, so if you find yourself on a slanted surface, there will be spots where the enemy can shoot you from underneath the bubble. When inside, the friendly Gibraltar that throws the dome, and only him, will get a 33% revive speed increase, making this a resurrection tool as well as impenetrable cover. I personally use the bubble when me or one of my teammates get beamed by an enemy squad, one of my teammates get downed, or a damaging ultimate like Bangalore's gets signalled. All of these are scenarios to protect my team, hopefully allowing us to reset or at least stabilise a bit before engaging the enemy fully. You just need to know when it is appropriate to res a teammate, because even with your faster revive, enemies can still sneak up on you and beam the both of you. Bubble fighting is also a massive part of Gibraltar's dome and separates the good Gibbies from the bad ones. Essentially, when an enemy enters your dome, you want to keep going in and out of it whilst shooting the enemy to reduce the damage you take and to maximise the damage the enemy takes. Using a semi-automatic weapon that also has high damage per shot and is good in close quarters is even better for this. I'd either take a shotgun or the wingman because they both suit Gibraltar very well. Try your best to stop shooting when passing through the bubble to conserve ammo, and to make it even more difficult on the enemy to hit you, jump whilst moving in a circular motion. What you have to do is jump and move in a circular motion so you go in and out of the bubble but also move forwards and backwards too. This makes it very hard for the enemy to hit you as you are not only moving in and out of the bubble but moving on all directions. Practice this in the firing range first to get a grip of it before trying it in game because it can be very tricky to learn. I haven't gotten a grip of it completely myself, and that's mostly due to lack of practice and people in silver not wanting to bubble fight as they just kind of rush you balls to the walls. You can also dome aggressively. If you and your team need to close the gap between you and an enemy, lob your dome of protection down and run into it before engaging. It allows you to take no damage when pushing, but you might also regret doming early when one of your teammates goes down in 0.3 seconds after peeking out of it. Timing your use of the dome is purely situational, and you will only ever really get the feel of it with practice, because doming too early or too late happens to every Gibraltar player. All I can say is don't hold on to it forever, but don't use it every 30 seconds either. Gibraltar has two passives. His unique passive, and a special passive because he's a chunky boy. First, we'll cover his chunky boy passive because there isn't much to say about it. Essentially, because Gibraltar has a bigger hitbox than most legends, he gets a passive called Fortified that reduces all the damage he takes that isn't a headshot by 15%, and he isn't slowed by bullets. That's it, just a nice bit of damage reduction and not being slowed by bullets to compensate for the fact that he decided to get buff and wear armor like an intelligent human being in a blood sport. Anyway, his unique passive is an arm shield. This is a purely selfish ability as it only protects Gibraltar, and it only activates when you aim down sights with a gun. This shield has 50 HP, and when it gets broken it is put on a 9-second cooldown before regenerating fully. There isn't much strategy to using this, as it is literally a shield that covers your torso, so just know that if you crouch you can cover more of your body with it, and you can toggle it off. Why would you want to toggle it off though? When scouting an area for enemies, you don't want a big glowing shield on you to give away your position, so toggle it off then to avoid being spotted first. Overall, these passives are great for Gibby, especially when bubble fighting, as you can aim down sights with a Peacekeeper or Wingman whilst going in and out of the bubble and taking 15% less damage overall. If played right, you're basically unkillable. Finally, for Gibraltar's abilities, his ultimate is when he's had enough of the enemy team's bullshit and decides to call a missile strike on them. You pull out a flare that you can throw, and when it lands, a big red circle flashes to indicate the 24-meter radius of which missiles will strike before sending down more red indicators for each individual missile. These kaboomy boys will explode on impact, dealing 40 damage each and shell-shocking enemies. Being shell-shocked in Apex makes you slower and your screen blurry, so it's very difficult to see. Just be warned, you can be damaged and stunned too, and your teammates can just be stunned. The mortar strike lasts a total of 6 seconds. The official name for this ability is defensive bombardment, but don't let this fool you. Whilst you can throw it on top of yourself when bubble resing a teammate so enemies won't push you, you can definitely use this ability aggressively. Feel free to throw your flare onto the enemies to either force them to reposition, stop a push, or deal damage to push yourself. It's great for flushing enemies that don't have a fellow Gibraltar or Watson on their team out of positions that can be tough to push. You can also use this as a repositioning tool. If you notice the enemy are about to push and you want to get the hell out, drop the flare where you currently are and run the opposite direction to create a gap between you and the enemy. This ability has a very long cooldown, so be strategic when using it, but then again, it's not completely detrimental if you mistime it, like how it can be if you mistime the bubble. Just remember, this is a tool for pushing enemies into a terrible position, not for getting kills. Gibraltar is in the defensive class for a reason. His kit revolves around protecting himself or his team and should be treated as such. Try to play in the middle of your team, because you don't want to be the first to go down, because no one else is going to bubble res you, but you don't want to be so far back you can't reach your downed teammates in time for them to not get thirsted. Try your best to keep up with your team and be aggressive if you need to be. Once you get the grip of your abilities and learn how to play around them, you can be really oppressive for the enemy, so take advantage of that and ruin some people's days with hyper-aggressive bubble plays. Gibraltar is one wholesome man, with an easygoing nature and a happy voice and voice lines. Gibby feels like the cool uncle of the group that cares for everyone whilst also being a total badass at the same time. He's there to look out for his teammates, and that's reflected in his gameplay, as well as his voice lines. Nobody will be put off by this lovable, gentle giant, as he has no annoying voice lines or interactions with other characters. You can use any weapons on Gibby and make them work, but I mostly like having a good close-ranged burst weapon like a wingman or PK to bubble fight with, and a longer-ranged weapon like a 30-30 or a charge rifle. You are able to poke far-away enemies with Gibby more than other legends because of your 50 extra health you get with your passive arm shield, so use that to your advantage. Like I say, any weapon works on Gibby, just bear in mind that you'll have to fight in your bubble at some point. Gibraltar has 4 counters: Revenant, Crypto, Watson, and Mad Maggie. Firstly, Revenant counters you because of his silencing orbs that make it so you can't use any abilities. The only one that still works will be your fortified passive. To avoid Revenant, try to throw your bubble before getting silence, so you still get use out of it when fighting him. Secondly, Crypto and Mad Maggie counter your dome. Crypto's EMP will destroy it completely. To avoid this, shoot the drone before the EMP goes off fully. Mad Maggie's tactical treats your dome like any other wall, so it can damage you and your team inside without Maggie having to be inside it herself. Her shotgun passive also makes her insane for bubble fighting, as she moves the same speed as when her weapons are holstered, making it really hard for her to get hit. To top this all off, Maggie's Wrecking Ball can just destroy your dome entirely now too. To prevent all of these, the only thing you can do is kill Maggie before she gets to use her abilities. Finally, Watson's ultimate can destroy your missile strike just like any other ordnance. To prevent this, shoot the generator before throwing your ultimate. Another character worth mentioning that I actually forgot to put in the script and forgot to add during the voiceover is Sia. He can stop you rezzing your teammate inside of your bubble by just using his tactical ability, so be aware of that. There really isn't a way to prevent this. Move in and out of your bubble whilst shooting the enemy with a semi-automatic weapon to reduce the amount of damage you take and increase the amount of damage you deal. Toggle your arm shield off when looking for enemies in the open as to not get spotted as easily. Throw your ultimate flare at your feet and use your dome if a teammate gets knocked and the enemy is about to push for a quick, safe res. If a teammate of yours gets beamed or downed unexpectedly, throw your dome and try to reset and stabilize again whilst your teammate heals or you res them. Learn when to be aggressive and when to call for your teammates to retreat. As the defensive legend, you need to recognize when a fight is winnable or not and protect your team if it isn't. Overall, Gibraltar is a pretty hard legend to play in my opinion. From getting used to his slower feeling running animation to learning how to maximize a bubble use, Gibraltar can be hard to get used to and learn how to play, but it's worth it, I promise. Learn when and how to use your dome, how to use your ultimate effectively, how to bubble fight, and you are sure to become a pretty decent Gibraltar player. Thank you all for watching, I do hope you enjoyed. As always, the clips from this video are taken from my Twitch stream, link will be on screen and in the description. If you found this video helpful in any way, consider subscribing and sharing it with your friends as it does help grow the channel. Horizon is next for the Apex series and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye. Here we go. Holy shit.
Look at that, brothers. I rank up.
2 ranks. Oh my god.